I've always been a big proponent of accountability first. That's the biggest thing. Taking accountability for everything, and then being the leader in everything. You have to take all of it, the brunt of it. Doesn't matter who did it, how it happened, none of it. It's on you. So I don't know, maybe I like the pressure. Maybe I think it's just, it had to come out of a necessity again. Like I just had to bring into that role in order to bring Game2Life to fruition. Because no one's gonna stand up and do it. Only you are gonna bring what you want to fruition. Nobody's gonna do it for you, and then you can't bring anybody for themselves. It's funny because people are like, man, you're so calm, you're so chill. That was built in by necessity, because I've had some crazy shit happen, but then it rectifies, like it works itself out. Like, don't be so reactive to things. Like sometimes crazy things happen, and like finding the calm in the chaos, bro, has always been something that I had to learn.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Haitian Kings Podcast. And when we started this thing, and we didn't know where it was going, but the main goal was to bring people in the community. They have things they got going on, and then people can inspire from. And the guest we have today is no different. He got the laser tag business. You might not know about it, but we know about it. It's the best place to be. Without further ado, Justin McCord.
What's
How you
up,
doing,
guys?
bro?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, you're welcome, man. It's a pleasure to have you, man. And ever since we met you, we've been pretty much like on you about how amazing the business is, because you kind of gave us a tour, and then you talked to us about where you think, where you're planning on going with it, and so on and so forth. And then it was like amazing. We were mind blown. And I've never been there. Actually, never been there to enjoy it, and my mind was still blown. So let's start from the very beginning.
Okay.
Who's Judson?
Who am I? Man, I'm the crazy laser tag guy. Like I was kind of telling y'all earlier, my upbringing and the way that I've kind of gone about my life, it's always been a curator of vibes, man. I'm big into that. I want people to have a good time. I want everybody to enjoy life, kind of get the most out of it. So coming up, I kind of, back in like middle school, high school, I was into music. I love music. So I started DJing. My mom would literally like drop me off to my DJ gigs with all my gear, pop the hatch. People, I'm DJing weddings and stuff, half the price of any other DJ. Doing a good job, you know what I mean? But I've always poured myself into the psychology of how do I make these people have a good time. I like the idea of how to control people with music, man. You can move bodies. But I'm telling you right now, if I put on a song on my phone, we'd all be, right? Tapping the foot, whatever, like we were at the fights last night, and I like looking around and kind of seeing who's bobbing, who's on time, who's off time. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
always fun. You see somebody and they hand clapping, getting it all wrong,
Yeah.
But it's, as I was coming up doing the DJ thing, it shifted into like, oh, okay, well, I'm making money at this. All right, I can buy more equipment. Great. Okay, I'm making more money at this. I'm getting the attention of other DJ companies in town going, hey, who's this kid getting these gigs? I used to have these homecomings. I'm not getting them anymore. I used to have these bars, or I used to have this and that, and it's like, what's going on? Even at an early age coming up, I had people that were like, hey, man, you got 2 enclosed trailers. You've got a guy working for you. Look, let me just buy in. You come work for us, take our name, blah, blah, blah. I'll buy all your stuff. And I was still proud. And I was like, nope, not going to do it. I'm not going to sell. I ain't going to sell out. Like I'm going to build the biggest DJ empire in the whole world. I've always been that way. And, man, like we were talking about, it started rolling into a business. So then, shit, you get into college, and then I had like a little rent house, and I throw parties, and they call it Club Juice, having people show up, having like a lounge type vibe. And, we were talking about, I shifted the house literally off the blocks from the girls hitting the wobble. You know what I'm saying? Everybody hit it at one time. And
What's the DJ name?
It's a DJ Juicy J. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Also,
Why make you come up with that name though?
Man, because I'm Judson. You know,
Oh, okay,
I mean,
okay.
I don't know. It's and I talk with like, you know, kind of bring it to this time. I've been talking with like partners, investors, and the thing that they buy into is not my business model. My business model crushes. It's not about that. It's about me. It's about my creativity. So I coined it Judson Juice. That's technically what you're buying into, right? Because all the things that you can see in your mind, you know, like we'll start talking about our little redneck Disneyland we got going on over there on Broad Street. But not everybody can see that type of stuff, you know? But I'm kind of going on a tangent here. Sorry, I'm hitting my
No, you're
weeds.
good. You're good.
fine.
I'm bringing it back. I would charge people to come into parties. You know, I would go get kegs. I would do jungle juice. Like I ran it like a business. I've always had that forethought. And well, I guess I can even back it up even further. It really started with the high school prom deal. I kind of got famous for that a little bit. People forget because I mean, hell, I'm decade removed from freaking high school. You know, I graduated in 2008. Wow, it's crazy to think about. But I just dated myself, but that's cool. I'm 35, just turned 35. Hell yeah.
You look good, man.
Thank you. But with throwing my own prom, you know, there was a lot of hurdles in that. You know, I was getting like death threats from people that were on the like student council who like does, you know, they get it all together and they hire the DJs and all that, and the parents of the student council help. Well, man, they call in my house. My mom's picking up. They're calling from like block numbers, like, we're gonna burn your house down if your son does prom. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I sat in the office for like 2 weeks. You know, they called me like poison to society and all kinds of stuff. Man, it was crazy, long drawn out thing. But prom went off successful. Man, I hired a photographer, like the whole nine, security, the whole thing. Went off without a hitch. Not a fight, not a DUI, not a crash, nothing that night from my thing. Everybody got home safe. Everything was good. Sometimes, man, and I'm going to kind of go off again here, but whenever you give people a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of trust, man, they'll surprise you, man. Like, we're doing decent as a human race, you know? Like, we're not all bad.
Yeah.
You know, like we talked about a little bit before we started rolling, like, oh, man, somebody coming in, shooting up the place, whatever like that, you know? Like, I combated that stuff with my insurance companies, with all kinds of stuff. And I kind of tell you my original plans of business, but nevertheless, it's when I started going into the route of business, money, fun, I understood and knew there was some type of joy and funds that could blossom a redneck Disney World. You know what I mean? And like all these things that came up was almost out of necessity. You know, Game2Life was originally developed for training. You know what I'm saying? I was going to have a live gun range in the back so that people could learn how to shoot guns safely and have range safety officers and, you know, a good indoor place to shoot guns, teach people how to shoot guns, sell guns. And then there was going to be a laser tag portion, which would also double as a shoot house where you could use, you know, force on force ammunition, which is I went and got all the guns. I went and got all, like I was ready to go with that whole model. And I shopped it around, man. No one was interested. You know, the police forces, all of these people that carry guns on a daily basis for their job just didn't work out. So the gun range was shot down, though, by City Hall, like city council or the powers that be, because when you design a business, you have to go, hey, can I do this? They said, no, you can't. You can't have a gun range inside the city limits. So had that big hurdle. So I was like, dang, I'm trying to develop this whole Game2Life concept. And, you know, like, I don't really know if I can even get it off the ground, you know, but that was when that creative side, you know, of like.
But like, just so you don't get too far along.
Oh, sorry.
Like, you started, you said like you were the DJ in town, the new
Yeah.
kid on the block in a sense.
Yeah.
So where did you pivot to go from DJ to now I'm gonna have a gun range kind of idea?
So that's a good question. This is gonna go pretty deep here. I had something happen to me, and and y'all don't, we haven't even talked about this. So this is pretty cool. Cool in the sense of it all comes back with, you need this closer?
Yeah.
All right, cool. We had a party. I was a DJ, okay? Somebody showed up to that party, and long story short, basically fights break out, this and this, and somebody ended up showing up with a gun, and somebody got killed. So I knew at that moment in time, one, I was ill prepared because I was 18, 19 years old or something like that. We couldn't stop the threat. We couldn't subdue the guy that had the gun, and we couldn't stop it from happening. It just happened. So then I set out on a mission of like, nah, we ain't gonna let that happen again. You know what I mean? Like one of my good friends to pass, you know, and I'll even mention his name, Daniel Garinger, the most solid individual that you'll ever meet in this world, was good as gold. And that's probably why he was taken soon from us. I mean, this guy was a veteran. This guy went to war, was a combat veteran, and was on leave from being on the front lines protecting our country and get shot at a party. Like as a bystander, like it wasn't even him, the one that was fighting. Like it's a horrible situation. I mean, you could go read the court documents. I was a, you know, character witness right off the rip. I mean, I was very heavily involved. It's just, I wasn't able to stop it. That's kind of where the fighting stuff kind of entered my life. Really started to train heavy. But anyway, I digress. So that was where the idea kind of blossomed into my head. So fast forward, I was working in the oil field. That's where I kind of went for my career, right? That was my outlet out of Lake Charles. Had a great gig with Halliburton. They had a ladder. They showed you the way. This is how you can move up. Boom. Okay, cool. Hard work, dedication to the craft. Easy. Let's go. Sent me to school, the whole thing. And then the oil field just fell out. One day after, you know, the whole BP oil spill and everything, and drilling moratorium hit, boom, everybody's stacked. What they call stacked, whenever they just take the rigs, move them off site. And I was deep water in the Gulf of Mexico, and it's like, we're not drilling, we're not doing anything, so you were expendable. It's like, all right, well, you're laid off, you know? And it was like, oh, like that happens? Like Fortune 500 company, like I'm set for life, and you're telling me that the oil field, you know, and I'm out of a job. And so come back, worked in the plants and stuff like that. But I got on with my mom, and my stepdad at the time were running a small construction company, dealing mainly with site services. So portable toilets, trash cans, lunch tents, hand wash stations, construction fences, you name it, right? Everything you need for like a job site. And as well as like if you're building a house, you need a portable toilet out there. If you're doing events, you need portable toilets. So some of my DJ stuff, right? That's how I kind of got in. I was like, oh, like I understand it. Big music festivals, stuff like that. You need portable toilets, you need all this stuff. But as that went on, they exited. They sold that company, and that's who I was working with at the time. So that was it. That's what led me into, it brought me back. And I was like, well, let me do this gun range and let me build this facility to train in, you know, have a mat room where you can learn how to grapple, you know, have a striking coach, have, you know, a range safety officer, as well as like a high-speed guy that can train and do all this stuff. And surely like all these police entities in town will buy into it, and it just didn't go. So then I had to pivot, man. And that was the thing, is I didn't have a playbook. There was no, this is what you can do. I didn't buy into any kind of franchise or anything else like that. I just had to like start brainstorming and making it happen. And it went from a live gun range and laser tag. I had like a pool room situated like to play billiards. I had that. I had golf simulators. I had some of that stuff in there. But I decided to add axe throwing. So it was just laser tag and axe throwing, and people loved it, man. They supported, the community came out and did the whole thing, but then COVID hit. So it was like, okay, not only can I not do the business that was supposed to be the end all be all, you know, like to where that was going to be my model. I've changed it multiple times. Now I'm first getting into business. Now they're telling me you can't do business. You got to shut down. So man, it was like bob and weave and trying to figure out like, what can I do to really run this business? So then that's whenever you start seeing the dwarf wrestling, start seeing the boxing matches.
Where did the ideas come from?
Where
did they come from? Dwarf wrestling.
Because to me, like, I don't see that many dwarf in Lake Shore. So where you get
Where do you get them?
That's a good question. So it's a whole outfit. It's basically a company. They travel all through the nation. They go all around. So when I was looking for just things to do to bring in talent, you know, concerts, stuff like that. I mean, we do live music, all that. It's just I didn't really find anything that really stuck. And the Dwarfinators, when they come out, man, they put on a show. And then we also, like you say, like we curate the vibe. So it's cool. Like we put a mini bar in there. We open up the bay door. You know, we make it super, super nice. And that's the thing is if you wait on people hand and foot, you make sure that you're running out to their seats. Hey, can I get you anything? You know, like we don't just set up a mini bar and go, yeah, you go over there if you need something. Like, no, like we're back there dancing, having a good time, like looking at somebody across the way, like, do you need something? You know, like I'm running over there to you, you know, like $5, you know, like it's those little things that trying to go over and overreach, I would say is, you know, like, man, I see your beer's half full. Can I help you? You know what I mean? Like all that type of stuff. But yeah, to answer your question, how does these ideas come in? It's out of necessity sometimes. Other times it is due to curiosity because I'm just like, I think that might work, you know, and then you do it. Like bring your own pool party. That was a massive success. And everybody's like, what the hell? Yeah.
Bring your own pool party. Like, how would
Exactly.
how would that work?
Yeah, we hired a DJ and everybody brought their own little inflatable swimming pool. They put it out on the turf and on the pickleball courts and we just vibed out. Just a day party. Like people brought like those like 8-person pool, like a pool to fill up the living room. You can go buy them for like $40 from Walmart, you know, and then we had some other pools there, you know. But yeah, just stuff like that, you know.
I mean, but it's interesting because, you know, sometimes like you see people sit down, you at home, you're thinking like, man, you got so much ideas, but you don't know, just like, it's not going to work. But for somebody like you, because you always feel like, man, if this doesn't work, I jump to this. Where you feel like this come from, like what make you the way you are, like, and why you would tell somebody that's at home that's have those things, what advice would be able to give them in the sense to be like,
I got you. So somebody who just has a ton of ideas, which I get that a lot. You know, I have people that come into the Game2Life and they tell me, I love this. They come, and they say, hey man, you know, I had this exact idea, except I would do this, and this different.
Well, go do yours.
So instead of that mindset, so at the beginning, I took it as shade, as they would call it, right? I was like, man, like, whatever, bro. Like, I'm actually out here struggling, trying to get it going. And like, it's easy for you to say, like, you had this idea. What I started to do was shut that idea down or shut that mentality down and instead open my mind and go, well, what other ideas did you have? Interesting. So you would add this and this and that. How would you run it? Okay, cool. So like, what would your standard operating procedure be on that? Okay, sweet. Okay, what kind of point of sale would you run? Okay, awesome. Yeah, okay, so what's the build out look like? If you thought about how much it would, and so you run them through that little exercise real quick, and then their little ideas start to kind of, it's not that I can't do it, it's that the execution on the idea is not only the most important thing, it's the only thing, right? It's very easy to
have a random
idea.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
To have these random ideas, these random thoughts, but to actually go in and execute on it it's hard, and it's in a way it's scary because you're exposing yourself, right? Because then at that point it's not just like a couch thought where you and your buddy were thinking about it. Now we've all of a sudden got assets tied up in it. We've got, you know, like we're on the hook whenever that banknote hits. Like we better have that money or else we're up.
Yeah.
Right. So to take these chances and to do some of these things, man, it takes a little bit of like the entrepreneurial spirit, I think, is something that is just put in you. I don't think that it's something that you can really like learn. Maybe if you like really, really try, but man, some people are just content where they're at. Some people are just cool with clocking in and doing a 9 to 5. Like that's fine. I understand that. Cause for a while I had a chapter in my life where I was that, but I kept like, I didn't have a purpose. I didn't have a clear, like driven, like getting up, and I was kind of sad and depressed, a little overweight, kind of just poking on through life, having a good career with Halliburton and having the house and having the car. I had a sick ski boat. You know what I mean? I had all these material things. I wasn't happy. But once that entrepreneur spirit come out and I could fully throw it out there in the ethos and try it out, exercise it, pull that dog out and bring it for a walk.
Well, you said really something that's very interesting because, as people, I think sometimes the way they condition us, watching like the way we grew up, like 9 to 5 is the way to go, like you gotta do this, you gotta go to work, but in a sense, like it takes a few people to just realize, man, they gotta have more to this. You know what I mean? It got to be like another way. And sometimes too, you can be 9 to 5, you was happy, and then something happened in your life. I gotta shift it quite quick to do something else. And then that's where you be like, I know like being an entrepreneur is a scary thought. Like, fuck, like you're back against the wall. You gotta do something. I mean, it's just like, and then at this point you feel like, man, I fucking did this. Let's say for instance, you're back against the wall and you come out of it legit. And you're like, fuck. And you feel alive. You feel like, I want to do this again. You know what I mean? In a sense, like having a 9 to 5, sometimes you just stare. You be like, you're not even, you know what I mean? You think you're happy, but you're not happy. But I really like that part because sometimes I think we just do a job. You think you're happy, but I feel like human, you just have to experience. Like sometimes you have to go like be in the lion den, in a sense, like feel that. And then you come out alive, you feel like, damn, I want to do some more and more and more. Yeah, but I like this. But
being an entrepreneur, like what I was gonna say is, being an entrepreneur is kind of like, in a sense, to me, the way I understand it, it's like a double-edged sword. When you're an entrepreneur, you work for yourself. It's not really working. I don't think anybody that's kind of have like a successful business that's there that they built from the ground, wake up one morning and be like, man, I don't feel like doing this today, because it's not the work. Because we were discussing this like last 2 weeks ago,
yeah,
when we had something we was doing, rental properties. And we were at it all day. And we were hungry and everything. He says, man, do you feel like you're working? I'm like, nah, man, I'm just chilling. But compared to when you got a 9 to 5, yes, the paycheck is assured, every week, every 2 weeks going to hit. But when you get up, it's like, damn, man, I don't really want to go there today. But I feel like as an entrepreneur, yes, it's scary because your back's against the wall. Everything is on you. Like, like you said, when that bank notice due, you got to pay that. But at the same time, you don't mind. Like when you hear people say, man, I put in an 18, 20-hour shift, it's because you work for your job.
Yes.
You work for yourself because you don't mind doing that. You're not clocking in and clocking out. But whenever you got a 9 to 5, that's when it's kind of like, that feeling where it's kind of like you do not want to go to work when it's almost time for you to go. You're the first one by the time to clock out and get the fuck out of there. If that makes sense. Like that's
because to me, like I always feel like when you're working for yourself, I don't call it working. I don't know, come with a word for it. I feel like it's not working. I feel like I'm doing this shit for myself. I don't even want to call it. And when somebody say, hey, man, yeah, I put 20 hours, 24 hours, I don't sleep. I don't call it working because, fuck, I got a vision in my head and I want it to happen. I'm not working. I'm building something, and to me, it's not working. But
and just trying to relate kind of what we're seeing to what we saw. When we went in there, you was kind of giving us a tour. You was literally pointing out everything. You said, see all this? I built all that. Every single thing you see in here, I put my hands on it. But I bet for you, when you were doing it, it didn't feel like work, did it?
Yeah.
Are you relating to what we're trying to get to? It didn't feel like work. I'm sure you could have contracted it out or whatever the case might be, but you just did it yourself, and and that's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. But you said everything you see in here, I did it myself too. Like you literally going as if you were a freaking contractor and know exactly how the shit was built. Man, I had to put this and I put that. I bet that didn't feel like work for you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can point back to a lot of stories of, having the boys over, a couple of cases of beer and an auger to build the fence. Magical, awesome day. Yeah. We had a blast, We got good pictures from that, you know. I can also point to a day of work where I had about a 14-ton dump truck full to the brim with 610 base, which is rock, dropped in there. And I think it was about 9 a.m. when he came and dropped it off. I had an event at 5 p.m. and all I had was a shovel and a bucket to move it all. So like that day, that was true work. Like that's where you start to think like, man, is this what I'm going to be doing? Like, am I just going to constantly be grinding myself into the ground? Because not only do I have to spread all this rock and get it done, now it's raining on us. I mean, pouring down rain. But yes, I mean, to answer your question, it's truly not work if you're going into it, doing it for yourself.
It might be tiring,
Yeah.
but it ain't work. If you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, to where you know, like, there's no clocking out. Like, I know if it's not done, then my client that's coming back, and the day turned out to be beautiful. But if I didn't have all that rock spread out in that certain amount of time, and I'm literally like breaking my back trying to do it, I've got 2 employees that are trying to help me. You know, we're just getting it done. But then that's the other side that we were talking about, like kind of before the podcast, was having other people buy in to what you're doing, because they were the 9 to 5, like they were paycheck employees, but they had that same urgency that I did, that same worry, that same true thought of like, man, we have to get this done. Like there's no way out of this. We have to get it done. Versus, you know, like you're saying, if it's you're clocking in, it's like, oh man, we knock off and do this tomorrow. In the grand scheme of things, because it doesn't matter to them.
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, I can definitely see that. But man, having a driven purpose to me is everything. That's what I think people sometimes lack, but it can be in anything. You know, I mean, I see people getting into pickleball and making that like their purpose, you know, and like they find joy and happiness in seeing their duper rating go up or whatever, you know. But I mean, I don't know. I think being an entrepreneur is cool in a sense of, yes, you get to work for yourself. You don't technically work, but man, I mean, if you ask my wife what it's like being the wife of an entrepreneur, you know, like I'm glad that you're here. I'd hate for you to be offshore, but there's a lot of times where like we miss dad, you know.
I got you.
For a week at a time, like if I'm developed like snook ball that I just built, you know, all day long, that's all I'm doing. And then I got to go home and take like a quick 2-hour nap because I just been like grueling and building stuff because I've got an event at like 7:00 that night. So whenever I go home, my kids are all excited to see me or whatever. It's like, hey, sorry,
I gotta shower.
I gotta go shower and then I gotta leave.
It sucks, right?
Yeah, and so after doing that for so many times and so over, I mean, it's been 6 years now, and it's only been me. So I just know that success and non-success is just never stopping, right? Just got to keep going. So I know that, and I mean, it's paid off. You know what I mean? It really has. But yeah, like to circle back, when I look at all that stuff out there, I have a little shit-eating grin on my face because I know the blood, sweat, and tears that went into that. It was all me. It was on my time, and I did things my way. Now, not necessarily to say that that's the best way, but it's gratifying. You know, it's cool to be able to have a vision, execute that vision, and then see it to come to life.
And just to switch gear real quick, you have a bar inside of Game2Life, right?
Yes, sir.
To where people can come and consume alcohol. How does that mix with throwing X?
Oh man, it's cool. The insurance company gave me a hard time off the rip, you know, because they see these axe houses and stuff. I mean, it's not a new concept. There's places that you can go throw axes and have cocktails at. They've had them for years, you know. But whenever you have a new concept like Game2Life and you're telling, you know, your insurance agent or whoever's shopping for all your stuff, you're like, yeah, so we're going to do laser tag and then we're going to have axes. And they're like, axes? What do you mean? Like, oh, like throwing axes. They're like, okay, we've seen that before. I was like, all right, yeah, and we're going to have our beer and liquor license as well. They're like, whoa, okay, so there's alcohol liability, beer liability, whatever, all these things entangled inside of that insurance. And then it's like, well, do you have any incidentals? Did I have anything go wrong? Like, I've never had a recordable on my insurance thing. So over time, once you've proven to them, it goes down and stuff like that.
I got you.
I mean, when it comes to the alcohol and the axes, having an expert out there, having somebody that's actually with you, it helps a lot. I mean, people also have great comments to say because they go like to Houston or Lafayette and they're like, yeah, they just gave us axes and said lane 4 down there, have fun, which is with us. I want our expert to have a whole script, like, hey, this is how you throw the axe. If you do this, it's not going to work for you. This is this. And, here are the rules. Here's some games you can play. Hey, can I get you a drink? Can I get you something to eat? I mean, hell, I've got cup holders on the dang axe cages so you don't have to say, hold my beer, watch this. You know what I mean? It's all built in, ready to go. But I think the time that I took in building those cages and building out that little area that's on the patio was like, let me chuck an axe as hard as I can and see how far it comes back. Do that 20, 30 times. All right, cool. I can about build my cages to here. That's about how much playbook I have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I got another question for you because you kind of said like from the very beginning you were like a DJ. You get a kick out of seeing people vibing, having a great time, whatever the case might be. And also we kind of touched up on basically that everything that's out there, you built it, blood, sweat, and tears. Well, let's just say on a Friday afternoon, you have a concert or something where like it's back and you see everybody having a great time and you're a big part of that. How does that make you feel as the owner, the person that literally built the whole thing brick by brick?
I would say grateful and motivated.
So you're like, I want to do more. Oh,
yeah. Hey, I got 500. Let's do 1,000. All right, I got 1,000. Let's do 2,000. All right, cool. I got 2,000. Let's do 10,000. It not only compounds with like revenue streams. That's cool. Make more money, do that and this. But the coolest thing is to, like what you said, you've got a bunch of people out there. You've got these events going. You've got these other things. The sense of community is huge for me. So it's not always about money. Okay. So it's very cool or gratifying when I've got a whole community of pickleballers and I'm doing a free pickleball day or something like that. It's like, hey, man, like they're coming out, they're supporting, they're excited to be there. They're thanking me. This is awesome. It's what I always get. This is awesome. Or I didn't know this was here. This is great. So that's very gratifying. But, man, like big events, that motivates me. That makes me hungry. That makes me, let's do more. I've always been Disney World thoughts, which is, if y'all know the model of Disney World, it started small in the swamp of Florida. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? So I've always had that to the moon aspect of anything I do. Like I said, the DJ company, I thought I was going to be touring the world. I was going to be the best DJ in the world. And I put my heart into it when I was in there mixing and really trying to get people going and moving. Like I cared about it. I wasn't just trying to like get a paycheck. That was cool. That keeps my little business running. That's great. But what really matters to me is the lasting impact of, man, we did this and that was awesome. What's next?
Having a business like this in Lake Charles, because there's not you on the land on your own. Like, I mean, there is nobody else doing it. But like from us coming from Haiti, and then when you come in Lake Charles, you be like, man, why there is not more stuff like this? And I always hear rumors and stuff like this I'm not going to get into. But why you think like there's not like Devin Buster's, other businesses that come to Lake Charles? Why you think it's that?
Well, so I've had these big business guys, these corporation guys come through Game2Life. We do a lot of corporate events, right? So I did a corporate event for Main Event, which is it's like a kid teen event venue. If y'all have heard of Main Event, it's like an arcade or something. They have one in Beaumont, Lafayette, stuff like that. I've also spoken with like the people with Drew Brees, Surge Entertainment. Yeah. I've spoken with some of those guys. So the general consensus of, and then here's the other thing. I started the development of Game2Life, that property right there. After I got shut down from the gun range and everything, I tried to do Top Golf. So that was my like original thought process was, oh, let's do Topgolf, blah, blah. So I went through all the steps and procedures to get through there to Topgolf. I wanted to find out that you can only invest in Topgolf. You cannot own and operate a Topgolf. It's not like a franchise you can buy into or anything like that. And I'll also learn that they pick and choose their locations based on census, actual statistical data that is inside of that city, town, whatever. Lake Charles has a very interesting demographic, and there's like 180,000 people, but it's all in like the surrounding of Lake Charles. It's not like a concentrated 180,000 people. You see what I'm saying? Lafayette is more concentrated. It's built in a hub. It's more centralized. So they can justify putting these bigger businesses because of there's less risk. Okay. 1, 2, there is a lot of land and a lot of areas inside of Lake Charles that are controlled by a handful of families that are just extremely, extremely wealthy. And it's not that they're not allowing things to grow here. That's not the case, I wouldn't say. It's just they're only going to do what benefits them in their portfolios. And that doesn't entail of an awesome shopping center or a new mall or a big water park, you know, like the water park out in, I don't know if y'all seen the I-10 water park. Y'all know about this?
Yeah,
It's a magical
I've
place.
heard that story. How they were supposed to be building one or something like that.
Oh,
right
no,
there
they
on the-
did. They built it. It was built and ready to go, and all they were ready trying to do was just turn on the water. And it from the way I understand it, it was a greed deal. The town kind of shot it down, and so like all that money just wasted. So when things like that happen, then people like me who are in that realm, right? Because when we talk about entertainment and stuff, everything they have out there, you could imagine that on my property.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
Take all that and put it right there on my property. It would even fit. But the reason why they don't do that type of stuff is because those things happen. Because all it takes is for 1 or 2 of these like entities to come in and just go like, nah, you can't do that. Now, maybe they just didn't do their research right. Maybe they didn't go about it right. I don't know those details or those, particular things. But when you're talking about trying to go out and do something new and do something, I'd say like progressive in a town that is like this, that is built on this old inherited money, some royalty.
But I gotta ask you this though, like with the casinos. At first, I remember when I first came to Lake Charles, they only had L'Auberge, and then eventually came in the Gold Nugget.
Yeah.
So how did Fertitta, of course, we all know he got money, got to persuade those people to
He got money. He got money. He has more money than them, or he's on the same plane as them. But here's the other side of things: is somebody like that can come in and line their pockets first. He can go, oh, cool. Like this family, you have all this land. Okay, cool. Like why wouldn't they sell to him? Because I guarantee you, there's got to be some kind of stipulation or royalties that are going inside the city of Lake Charles, right? Like that's also a city decision. So that's huge for us for tax revenue dollars, all the money that those I don't know how they're structured. I'm sure that they're probably dodging taxes or whatever, but it brings people here, right? It puts us on the map.
But
so
same thing for Game2Life, same thing for any little small businesses that's trying to, build up.
you just said small, and that's what they don't like.
Yes,
They want
I
their
understand where
size
it's
or
coming
bigger. That I'm a problem. I'm a big problem because I don't have, quote unquote, fuck you money. I can't just go and do what I need to do. But here's the problem with me is that I can disrupt just enough to where they're like, this little motherfucker out there, like he's out there just doing this on a little bank loan. Like, he can't get into the private dollars like we can, like, oh, what's he got going on now? Like, oh, he's got this going on. I'll show him. Oh, cute brunch, bud. Hold my beer, watch this. Like, go
I'm about to
hire all
open
these
David Buster
people
right across
and-
from him.
yeah, like go crazy and say, like all this and that. But I just learned to grind in silence and just do my own thing. And a lot of people are like, man, why aren't you out there like really promoting, man, and just like going to all these events and getting in with McNeese and doing all this and that? Like, We do plenty with Magnes. I do a shitload of business with Magnes. The football, the basketball, soccer, track, like they all come and they all do things with Game2Life. Now, granted, I'm not out there, hey, look at me, Game2Life is because I feel that at the moment in time that I start really getting out there and making myself visible and popping on the radar, if I'm not ready to pull my trigger on some of the things that I think is going to not only set me apart, but put me over what we call the entertainment deal within Lake Charles, like where you said the only place to go, the only place to be. In order for me to get there, it's going to take time. It's taken 6 years, but I feel that if I would have blown up right off the bat and would have really went 120%, one, quality of life goes down. I can't just like, hey man, look, Sunday, I want to go hang out with my family. Like, no, if I'm cranking and going and doing events every single weekend, doing the most, my quality of life goes down. So I've just done enough to kind of get by, do little spikes, like, oh, bank account's looking kind of low. Throw an event, Hey, look, we got to do this, we got to do that. Now, a lot of people like, why aren't you way out there? Why aren't you? Those families that we speak of, those folks that are in town, they could literally snap and go, he's done. What can we do that's bigger? Okay, I'll give you kind of an example. There are businesses in town that budded after Game2Life. I think that happened. I'm excited for that. Hell yeah. Way to go, Judson. Like, big win for me because the greatest form of flattery is obviously, duplication or, trying to, mimic what you got going on. But I kind of tricked people in the beginning because they thought the laser tag, they think traditional laser tag. They don't think 22 to 55 age demo. They think 7, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, right? Well, as Game2Life started to get in and develop, people kind of felt like, oh no, this isn't like a kid place or whatever. So they saw like, okay, well, this dude's doing entertainment. It's new. It's surviving. Like, holy crap, he's packed out. He's got all these people there. We can do the same thing. Entertainment's alive and well in Lake Charles. Let's just go after the kids, and which is from what I suggested. I mean, I was big proponent of, please, Lake Charles, please, 11 years old and younger needs something. So boom, a couple of businesses start popping up. People start doing some stuff. That's great. In my mind, business breeds business. But here's the other side of that. Somebody at the drop of a hat, like I said, could just go Game2Life, wipe them out. We're going to do exactly what he's doing, except we're going to go. And that's some of the ideas that we talked about off camera, right? So if I was so fast to get there, I was afraid of one, overbuilding and having to do that. Oh my gosh, we got to make money. So I think grinding silently for those 6 years did me a due diligence. My mom always said my mouth gets me in trouble. So I've tried to just keep my mouth shut and do as much as I can to really get it out there, but not be so out there that it puts the eyes and pops me on the radar. Because as soon as that happens, there, people can start to get wise and go, hey man, if this dude's doing it out there and he's just by himself.
We got more money. We can do it 10 times bigger.
Yeah.
I got you.
Exactly. So, and not to say that they're going to do that, because there's idea people, there's executioners. Like I like to think of myself, not as in the meaning of killing things. I just think of killing life, right? Just going after it, making sure I crush every goal I set for myself. But anytime these ideas and stuff flourish and you've got these folks that are talking about, oh, I'm going to do indoor pickleball here, or I'm going to go do golf simulators over here, or I'm going to go. I had a guy, this is a funny story. This is a great story, actually. A guy came to my business, saw my model that I had, within 7 or 8 days, popped up a website. I'm not going to say what it was, but basically duplicated a website of a franchise of an axe throwing place, had a address that was to his home, mind you, all this stuff, the brand new axe throwing lounge, bar, blah, 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 this whole nine. I had customers that ended up, they drove out to his house because they like Googled like axe throwing. Like, he bought all the SEO stuff. Like, I was flabbergasted. And once I like dug into it, I was like, man, this dude literally showed up over here like 2 weeks ago. You know what I'm saying? And he shot like, and it blew my mind. But that's what really put me on to like, okay, cool. Like, there's some people that are going to try to do this shit. Like, obviously it never took off. It didn't go anywhere. But there are bad actors that are out there that automatically see something and they're like, ooh, I can do that. You know what I mean? They try to jump in. They try to get into the game. Some people are going to flourish and do well. Other people, not so much. They might be non-starters. But you still have to be wary of that, especially in a concept business like what I have at Game2Life. Like, whenever I told people about Snookball, they're like, what is that? You know what I mean? Things like that. Things of that nature. The adult swing set, bro, I can't get people off of it. If I pull up my cameras right now, it's 8:30 on a Sunday. I've got people out there swinging in them swings, listening to that music, just vibing out, having a good time. But that never came up when I was thinking about laser tag and axe throwing. You know what I'm saying? But came out of necessity. How do I get people to hang out? How do I get people to drink? How do I curate that vibe? How do I put that Juicy J in there, you know?
So I mean, I know
I'm assuming you still DJ over there, right?
Yeah,
sometimes.
I try to.
And it's still Juicy J, or is that somebody else that
No,
DJ?
so like tonight, Donnie Glenn's in there tonight. Good dude. Shout out.
Yeah,
Donnie
shout out
Glenn.
Donnie.
Oh, shout out to Donnie Glenn.
I mean,
for
I
sure.
don't know how you do it, but he's.
Oh man, that dude got the energy, man. Like he's always
different.
turning up, and I'm like, dude.
Yeah,
how
every
the hell
time you look
do
at my phone, Donnie's always doing something.
Yeah.
He's legit. I love Donnie. I was the first guest too on the show, so
Okay,
shout out Donnie
cool.
Glenn.
Yeah, man. No, it's just, I think moving into Lake Charles becoming a bigger, like, whatever you want to call it, metropolis or bigger city, right? We're trying to grow our footprint and bring people in to travel and visit Lake Charles and stuff like that. I think it's important to have something like Game2Life because it will draw people in. And even if they don't eat in my restaurant, even if they don't have drinks in my bar, they might go somewhere else, or they might come in and stay somewhere else and you know, go down the road, have a Buffy's Po' Boy or something over there on Broad Street, go visit Panorama, you know, like, and that's another thing I think I've done a poor job. I'm a heavy critic of myself, but I've done a poor job of networking with other business owners and stuff like that. I wouldn't say it's because I'm like shy or not outgoing. It's just because I bog myself down with building stuff or like trying to develop other businesses inside of my business, you know, curating parties, events, stuff like that. And I don't have anybody in-house right now to really run all that stuff for me. And I'm a big believer in, if the owner isn't there daily, man, you're gonna have obstacles that come up that are very, very tough to rectify, especially if you don't catch it early enough and you start to see the standard of your business decline. Man, some owners are hands off, man, and that's why I think that their businesses fail. They entrust in somebody else who they're paying probably not enough money in that person's opinion, you know, like, oh, he doesn't pay me enough to do that, or that's not my job. That type of thing doesn't survive. You know, the set it and forget it mentality of, I can just pop this up and I'll have these people run it. Man, like, definitely not in Lake Charles either. Lake Charles likes to be able to call the owner. You ever notice that?
Yeah.
Anytime you're in Lake Charles, they pop in, they look around like, yep, I know Judson. What's up? Where's he at?
Yeah, I know.
Where is he at? Judson, hey. You know?
I mean, that's a good thing too. You know what I mean? I feel like, man, I build this and people know me for it. And, you know, some people like to feel like, oh yeah, I know the owner. People like that. But in the same time as the owner, you feel like, man, it's just like, it's cool in the sense, like, it feel like a
sense of pride in a sense. Like, you know, you're known for Game2Life. When people come in there, I mean, Justin's a good dude. I mean, well, yeah, they just saying what's up. You know, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in a sense, I kind of understand that, especially in Lake Charles, a small community. It's not like a big city to where people are coming from the opposite side of town. They usually don't frequent this territory or anything like that. But it's Lake Charles.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's a small community to where, like, everybody in a sense knows somebody, or either know, oh, I know the owner of this bar, I know the owner of this place, kind of thing. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So like, where you think your leadership come from?
I think it was built out of necessity. Again, whenever I was working at Halliburton, I had to run a few guys that worked directly for the rig, because Halliburton's a service company. They don't actually like own anything. They just work for these big companies. I'll use like BP or Shell as an example. They would hire out a contractor to go drill. The last boat I was on was Noble, so they were the contractor that was drilling. So I would have to work with people that are not directly employed by me, but have a job that requires me to oversee them. Yeah. And I've always been the guy that's going to get next to you, roll up my sleeves and get to work. I'm never better than you. I can't stand someone saying like, that's not my job, or, like that's above my pay grade, that's beneath my pay grade. Like I've never believed in that. I've always believed in like team ideas and concepts, maybe from like playing sports, as a kid going up all the way through high school, maybe that's where that came from. But I just saw great success with it on the rigs versus my counterparts. Cause like you would work with those guys, they would have a different schedule, right? They would come out for, let's say their 21 days started on like a Tuesday, and maybe our 14 days started on like a Thursday or something like that. So they would see both sides of the Halliburton guys. Maybe one guy was like, bitch, you're going to pull my samples, like, or like, why aren't you doing this? Or, stuff like that. Versus like the way that I go about it is like, I'm going to go down there. I'm going to be in the little mud room with you or whatever. And we're going to go through the samples together. Like, oh shit, you didn't pull them last night. Like, no big deal, bro. Like, let's just get this going. I found instead of yelling at people or directing them to do things, like I got a way more positive impact on joining in like group thinking with others than I would ever get like, oh ma. So like it's like the kids that work for me, they know that if I'm in there, I have a certain standard, but I'm not going to scream and yell, and I'm not going to throw a fit. And like, there's correctable actions, like there's certain things that you're going to do and you're going to mess up, and like, that's okay. But as long as we know we're all in this together, no matter what, if you fail, I fail. I failed you. That's why you failed. I did not give you the right information. I did not set you up for success. This lady is yelling at you in your face because she wants a refund of, I'm just going to eat like a bag of chips or something, and you handle it poorly. And then she goes on Facebook and does this whole rant about how we failed her. I have to own that. That's on me. So I've always been a big proponent of accountability first. That's the biggest thing. It's taking accountability for everything. And then being the leader in everything, you have to take all of it, the brunt of it. Doesn't matter who did it, how it happened, none of it. It's on you. So I don't know. Maybe I like the pressure. Maybe I think it had to come out of a necessity again. Like I just had to bring into that role in order to bring Game2Life to fruition, because no one's going to stand up and do it. Only you are going to bring what you want to fruition. You can't. Nobody's going to do it for you, and then you can't bring anybody for themselves.
But I want to say, like, don't you think it's, because when you're looking at the world, how people operate, do you feel like those qualities is something you was born with? You either have it or you don't, or you think like that's something you can cultivate along the line to be that person?
I think if you want to be better, then you will be. I think at the moment in time that you tell yourself that you can't do something, or that you're not good enough, or that you don't deserve something, I think at that moment in time you've lost. I think that you have to shift your mentality into a winner's thinking, right? The think and grow rich mentality, the mantras. Man, I've had a lot of discussions with myself in the mirror, a lot of crying sessions in the mirror, bro. Like, can you do this? Are you built for this? Like, are they going to tear you down? Can you make this? Like, bro, there's no playbook, right? So you only have you. Bro, I burned the boats 6 years ago, right? I can tell you some crazy stories going through the building of the building, bro. Like, I showed up and the screws on the side of the building looked like a 4-year-old put them in. And I'm paying this contractor money that I really don't even have. You know what I mean? And it's like, I got to get this fit. I'm melting down, freaking out. So it's funny because people are like, man, you're so calm. You're so chill. That was built in by necessity because I've had some crazy shit happen. But then it rectifies, like it works itself out. Like, don't be so reactive to things. Like sometimes crazy things happen, and like finding the calm in the chaos, bro, has always been something that I had to learn and something that was brought on to me out of necessity. Again, so yeah, I think that you can train yourself to ultimately overcome adversity, but it takes little things, incremental changes in your life, right? Like if you're a heavy drinker, you got to quit drinking. You know, if all you do is sit around and smoke weed all day, like you got to quit that. You can't throw an idea out there. Like whenever I said, I'm going to do Game2Life, I'm going to train people how to be more deadly. I'm going to train people how to be harder to kill. Like that was my whole goal, right? It was my whole goal. I had to go get in shape. That's whenever like Quay, the whole fight team came in, like I had to go be that guy. Like, bro, you give me a gun, which is I saw your gun as soon as you came in here. Bro, I could shoot 8-inch plates at 50 yards right now. No sweat.
Okay, John Wick.
No sweat, bro. I'm telling you. So, and it's because I hold myself to that, you know, that, I guess, that's my standard, you know, but not everybody is built like that, man. Some people are good I call them little doot-to-doos, bro. Just going through life, just do, like, and that's okay, man. There's a lot of people that are like that.
Yeah, but you know, I want to say that because, like you said, because you use the word a lot, playbook. There is no playbook because you can come out here and tell your stories, and your stories can be inspiring for so many people, but you cannot be Justin, right? Justin, you gotta be yourself. So you're looking at all these people around you. You wanna build your own model. You know what I'm saying? I'm taking from him. I'm taking from you. And I'm taking from everybody around me. But at the end of the day, I have to do what's best for me. And you have to figure it out what is best for me. Yeah. You know, do you feel like, some people feel like, you know, comfortable. We always looking as human, comfortability, you know what I mean? That's something we happy to have now because back in the days, you know, when they have wars everywhere, you didn't have that chance. You had to go protect your family, you know. I'm talking about the Mango Wars and stuff like that way back, you know, where you have to survive. You know, you have to go fighting, you have to go hunting, you have to go all this. And now, the world we have right now is easy to just chill and just go by the world, just smoke, drink, and just life is meaningless in a sense. Is that a few? That's what I'm saying. You got so much, like, I would say, what was the word I can use? Distraction. For you to just like, I don't feel like it. But there are people like your ancestor back in the days, they didn't have that option. You know what I mean? But sometimes it's hard like to feel like, that's why I always feel like, yeah, you know, the mentality, maybe because the way you grew up, I feel like my mentality come from the way I grew up. See, now they have nothing. Like, I feel like, man, I had to have it. But some people too grew up in those same situations, but they never thought like that. You know what I mean? You know, maybe like the friends you've been around to, they just, when you see them mistreating you, make you feel like you nothing, and you feel like, fuck, I'm gonna show you. I might not be able to show it right now, but when I fucking grow up, I want to be this baddest motherfucker you ever. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's like I say, it's a double-edged sword. You never really know, but sometimes you're looking at other people, you be like, man, how can you just wake up every day and you just, you know, like, you
accept it. Like,
yeah, you just like life is just life.
You stay with
you
that
just breathe.
comfortability. But I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna switch gear, bring it back to Game2Life entertainment and whatnot. To piggyback on what he was saying, because a lot of time, like let's just say, somebody like me gonna get perceived as quote unquote arrogant, and I'm like, I'm not arrogant, because honestly, when I'm talking about my shit, I don't know if it's gonna happen. I'm gonna do this, and that. But the moment I'm in that situation, it's gonna replay back in my head. You said you was all that. And then that gonna drive me to give it 150% is because I'm not gonna see myself fail because I said I was all that. And some people don't even put that level of pressure upon themselves. Like you were saying, as a business owner, your back was against the wall. And I'm sure, like you said, you have plenty of therapy session in front of the mirror to where it's kind of like, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? But I'm sure there's a part of you that's like, man, fuck this. I'm going to figure it out. Some people don't have that bone in them.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, man, I have a gorilla mentality, bro. Like I always, from the jump, I always use that gorilla emoji, right? So, and it brings me back because when Game2Life was first being built, I had my building out there and stuff, but there was a lot that really wasn't going on in the beginning because I was still like finishing out a build is tough. And then on top of that, I had to get like all the laser tag equipment, all that stuff working, and I had to train myself on how to do it and all that. Well, I was hitting a roadblock with the laser tag stuff, and I literally put it away for like 3 weeks. It was getting time to do the laser tag stuff, and me and my buddy, Kyle Peterson, shout out Bub. Is this my camera right here? What's up, Bub? But we were back in the woods, and I had this big ship rope, and my whole goal was to have, this thing's probably 40 feet up in the air, and I had thrown like a ball over there. My whole goal was to basically get a rope up to that tree. And a part of that, to get that rope up in that tree, is I had to also have a spot to go up to swing from that rope, right? So I had my rope up in the tree, which was a whole battle. I'd overcome that, did the whole thing. And then trying to get the rope into the other tree, Bub had tried, very athletic guy. He just couldn't get up there, couldn't do it. And another one of my friends had tried. He couldn't get up there. He couldn't do it. And I'm not the most athletic. I'm not the strongest guy. I'm not the most built guy. But one thing I do have is I have that perseverance. I got that gorilla mentality of like, bro, you are never going to stop me. And it shifted there because I literally bear hugged a tree and climbed it like, I don't know, probably 20 feet and hung a rope. Like if I come off the tree, that's a wrap. And I did this shirtless and in socks. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it was only because I knew, and bro, like I was fighting and battling demons behind that laser tag stuff, behind the business, having those talks in the mirror. Yeah. So at that point in my life, I felt like I was trying to battle for everything. If I lost anything, and I mean, literally a freaking thumb war or paper, rock, scissors, anything like that. If I lost anything, then I was a failure. Like I wasn't going to make it. I wasn't going to do it. So I started looking at everything like I got to do it. Didn't matter what it was. Was it climbing trees to put ropes in trees? Going into the business, doing the build out for laser tag, like having no clue and no idea, and getting all those plans and everything drawn out and built. And like I said, a lot of it was just done by my hands, but it was out of, it has to be done. And I will not take no for an answer. And I don't have a bunch of money. You know how builds are, man. You're going to come in over budget anyway. You're going to be, scratching for change, trying to figure it out, And the only thing that kept me going was knowing, keep going, fail forward. Okay, the laser tag shit doesn't work. Put it up for a little bit. Take a break. Revisit it later. Have those small wins in the background of gorilla bear climbing a tree, putting a rope in there and having an awesome rope swing. I mean, it's fun, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, I'm a curator of fun and joy. And that right there, I've got a video, damn near brings me to tears of me swinging off of it because I'm so like, bro, when Nico won his fight last night, shout out Nico, my
shout
dog,
out Nico,
bro.
too.
Wow.
I love Nico.
Amazing fight. But like that energy from whenever he got up from the fight and he won, right?
Yeah.
That feeling there, I could bottle that up. If I could bottle it up and sell it, I'd be a wealthy man. But that emotion, that just raw, I did it. All of this has come to this. Like I was having those types of moments like every other month, bro. Like, like, holy shit, I figured out laser tag. Ah, like, oh my God, I made it. Like I said, there's no, and these people they're not gonna sell you this stuff and be like, okay, here's step this through that.
Yeah,
like
there's no playbook.
It just
like
didn't exist.
Yes.
They sold it to me. They were like, hey man, cool. You got the best laser tag equipment on the world. Do you want to hire us to put it in for 40 grand? I'm like, no. No, sir, I don't. Like I'll figure it out. call other owner operators in the country, do my research, talk to them. Hey guys, how are y'all doing this? How are y'all doing that? Sure is how we, so that's out of necessity. Other people that have money, they can set it and forget it, but it kind of brings us back to there's a sense of pride in that I started this from the bottom. And then also I now have the knowledge to go back. Man, I tell some of these employees when they start and they show me little tricks and stuff on the computer, I'm like, damn, I forgot about that. It's like I've forgotten more than they even know about this stuff. But it's just those hard journeys that killed me in the beginning, crippled me. It was just like, oh, this is so hard. This is the worst thing ever. But because I kept going, I kept doing it, like all that shit has paid off tenfold. If I wouldn't have struggled, if I would have hired them, if I would have done that, now if I'd have a problem, I wouldn't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
To where it's going to be like more money to when something break down to where you got to hire another contractor to come back and fix it. But since you're the one that built it, you can always fix it.
Good to go.
I mean, I'm glad. I'm so happy you bring up Nico because I had a few talks with Nico. I need to get Nico on the show after this fight because he's just like, I talked to him, the guy got the belt and Nico was not supposed to be there. And then he shocked the world. I know because I see him fight before. He's a bad motherfucker. But I was talking to him, I said, yeah, people always underestimate me. But I'm like, man, you're going to whoop his ass because I saw him fight before. And I believe in Nico. And for him to do that yesterday, that was fucking, and I can imagine because you can see, like you see that energy and you can see that, damn, that's a great feelings to have, But anyway, I wanted to shout out Nico. I love Nico, but I'm happy that he won that because I want him to win that belt, and he actually did it last
But
time.
let me bring it back to the entertainment value. And there's like a bar, well-known bar in Lake Charles, I won't say their name, that I know for a fact that they treat people horrible, and yet they're still popping. Like, I've heard many stories, and I've had a bad experience there myself. Like, many people saying, I went there, I got mistreated, I got kicked out for no reason, and they got a whole bunch of little weird rules that don't even make sense. And...
oh, I know what you're talking about.
yeah. And that bar is still thriving. Of course, it's been there longer than Game2Life.
Sure.
But it's you as the new guy coming in. Like, what do you do whenever it comes to, let's just say, dealing with that guy who just had too many to drink? And like, how do you treat those people? Because like I said, I've experienced all the places that's well known that treat people 10 times worse. I mean, they treat people worse and they're still in business.
Sure. I think that sometimes you could be a bad person, just like a really horrible person, and things work out for you. I think that's just happens in life sometimes. But the way that I kind of mitigate my risk inside of like people getting out of hand or certain things like that, man, is I just try to curate the most positive vibe that I possibly can. At the same time, I try to not be unreasonable with some of my requests, right? Like, I understand, like, let's put it to you this way. If we have, like, Donnie Glenn wants to do a show inside of our laser tag arena, his karaoke deal, it's going to be like cocktail dress, attire, this and that. So he's going to have rules and stipulations on enforcing in the venue. I think it's very important, one, to be very, very transparent in what you're trying to do. That way you're upfront with all the rules. There's no gray areas. You have everything plain, cut, and simple. Look, I'm sorry, sir, you can't come in because you're not wearing a shirt. Simply says right here that you have to have a shirt on.
That's common sense, too.
Right, type situations. I've had times where, like, for instance, not necessarily a club deal, but, like, I've had a 7-year-old try to come and play laser tag. And so the way I handled it, the mom was very upset and irate because she paid a lot of money and, all the other kids were doing it. And this kid's sitting in the lobby and he's crying and stuff like that. So what do? I go figure out a way to get this kid playing laser tag in the game. I literally rig up a whole situation to where he can go in there and have fun. I think that's what's missing with people is the ability to think outside of the box of how can I solve this problem? The problem is what you gave me is, man, like this dude is being treated poorly due to not following the rules, right? Is essentially what it is. I've had people in laser tag be very upset with us because the game isn't going their way or because the other team is just absolutely destroying them. Used to, I would have to go in and really diffuse the situation and make sure that everything is fine. Now, on the forefront. We understand that those things can happen. So we've been proactive and we help do balancing of the teams on the computer. The new people, we make sure to very clearly describe, like, hey, these people in here, like, they're professional freaking laser tag players, okay? They're very good. I understand that you and all 4 of your friends want to be on the same team, but let me warn you against that. You're probably going to have a horrible time because they're going to destroy you. I would suggest that y'all split up, blah, 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 and then you curate a better time. So I think it's all in how much responsibility are you really willing to take? That's what it all comes down to, is if you feel personally responsible for somebody having a good time in your establishment and you make sure that you're going to go to the ends of the earth to make sure that that happens, then you kind of mitigate your risk on having people having a bad time or a bad interaction. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got another question that's kind of interesting too for you. We had a guest in this show, Grant Navarre, and he said he's probably one of the best laser tag player in the country. He said that verbatim. I'm not making it up. And
he's good though.
How do you think he compares to the guy who built every square inch of that place that probably done win that course like 1 million times?
He would smoke me in laser tag.
Wow, you got out of practice?
I never play laser tag. So that's one risk. I don't play the game. I'm not really forward thinking as far as like how to play the game better or stuff like that. There was a time that I did play, but I've always been the guy on the outside, putting people into the game, making sure they understand how the gear works, stuff like that. Like I was more of a team leader instead of like somebody who would jump in and play. But I can speak to him being a better player in the country or whatever. Yeah, I mean, he's up there on the list. We had a tournament for laser tag. The guys that started iCombat, which is the system that we use, they came down from Chicago and the other place, Wisconsin, which is, what was it? Madison, I think was the city. But regardless, so people from, like, you could say nationwide. I mean, like, the very popular, very active field, one of the most active fields and most active areas in the nation, they came down and played, and Grant fared well. So, I mean.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I mean,
and that's playing them personally. Like, so Game2Life does work on a global scale. So you can see like where you are in the world. I mean, they got this stuff in Dubai. They've got this stuff starting to pop up over in like Germany and stuff like that. So you can see how you pair up with people like that. But when you put them in the same room together, then it's a different story. You know what I mean? And like they did well. I mean, the guys from up there won the tournament. But like, I want to say Grant's team like came in second or something like that.
Yeah, because I mean, I had a chance to, because when he come here, he was talking about, it. I'm a very competitive kind of guy, you know what I mean? I was like, shit, man, now I'm in, you know what I mean? But I'll go over there, trust me, it's a workout. And when you don't know how to do it, because me as competitive as I am, and I was just like, I felt some type of way, you know what I mean? And I didn't want to be the weakling, and I was, you know?
Yeah.
At some point, I felt like, man. And it's just like, and I didn't want to be the guy that's just like, all right, we have to, you know, because Grant and Ryan, they're really good. I mean, they took this shit like they're in the wheel about it. I mean, when they come out, he's the shit. And when you feel like you in there, fuck, they switching your team like, and you feel like
the sorry guy, like that guy at the basketball court nobody picked.
You're a target. You're literally a
because
target.
sometimes they switch you because, trust me, when they playing, they don't like losing. If they feel like, you know, they be like,
You're the weekend. Get this dude.
I like the way sometimes they shifted. You know what I mean? They got some other guys too. He's not just them. They're really, really good. I feel like the XP, maybe I guess the XP, my score never to the highest level of these guys, because I guess you need to play more and more and more to get to that level.
Yeah.
But it's just like when I feel like I got like 10 kills, I'm so fucking happy. Sometimes I lose. When I feel like I'm losing so much, I feel like, damn. I don't be the guy when you're like, man, because sometimes the loss is like much time you get killed, count 2 against you. So I just sit down and just let it be. I catch the next game. But yeah, it's a really fun game. You know, it's if you're really like competitive, I just like every time you go in there, you run up there and the motherfucker shoot you. God damn, you come back again and you go up there. It's just like them guys. Just like when you get this look, sometimes I be hiding somewhere and trying to catch somebody, and that shit is. I mean,
You're not
it's
camping,
a good
man. You can't be doing that.
You can do. I mean, I'll do anything, man.
You camping, man.
But this little kid that's always got me, man. This little kid, man. Every time I kill him, but you have no clue. He's just like, it's the best feeling ever. He's so good because you don't see him coming. When I kill him, I'll be like screaming in his face, and he's screaming in my face like, I like that. It's a good Willie. For sure. But I like it.
But let me ask you this, dude.
Well, hold, real quick, can I take a break?
Oh, yeah,
You gotta pee?
You gotta pee. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Good.
We can do
Good
that.
time.
Man, he's in the hallway right there, man.
Just straight this way?
Like straight to the hallway, the first door to the left. No, first door.
How long do y'all usually run y'all's podcast?
It depends of like how the
How the
vibe is
conversation
going.
flows,
Yeah. I mean, it's flowing so far so good. Right now we've been like 1 hour and 10 minutes. So we about to be like, it depends of. Sometimes we got guests like 4 hours. We got guests like 2 hours. It depends.
Y'all go back and edit all this stuff?
Depends. Like those right here, yeah, this little section, we cut it off. Sometimes I like this. Like sometimes it depends how the flow goes right now. This little part, I might cut it off because it's just like authenticity. People like, that's the whole point about a podcast. Is just having those. It's not an
interview, basically.
It's not like
to where,
a TV,
everybody
you
just
just
gotta
like-
sit straight, neck straight up, kind of thing.
You know what I mean? You just come and have those little moments. But like, let's say, so if we go right now, just on the guy they go all through these problems. They go all through the success, the goods and the bad. If you had to go back and talk with your 15-year-old self, what would you tell him?
The DJ.
Yeah, the little
like
aspiring
Juicy J.
budding DJ.
Juicy J and everybody.
Man, what I would tell that kid is, man,
Quit
don't
that
give
DJ
up.
shit.
Yeah, keep cranking it, keep turning it up, keep getting the cops called on you for playing music too loud, man. Just keep going, don't give up, because you never know what direction your life is gonna go in. I feel like there's chapters, but man, just enjoy each one, take it for what it is. Try to learn everything you can as you go on through life, because all that knowledge is so much power, man. It really is.
But I gotta ask you this though, because you said, remember when you were like 14, 15, you remember your mom dropping you off to gigs, and you used to be offloading like your equipment from the trunks and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure being as passionate as being a DJ, and from kind of what you told me, it sounds like your parents were like more business minded, since you said they opened their own business and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure you had like some feedback, negative feedback, like, that shit ain't gonna take you nowhere.
Of course.
Kind of stuff. How did you deal with all that?
Man, I use that as fuel. I mean, I've never been the one where when people tell me, hey man, you can't do that, or hey man, that's hard, I've always found that intriguing. And I've almost found that as an invitation of, oh man, like extraordinary people do hard things. Like, to be uncommon amongst uncommon men is always been my goal. Why? I really don't know. I can't really tell you. Can't put my thumb on it. I just know that I've always strived to be that way. So when people automatically say like, oh man, like you're a terrible DJ, bro. Like all you do is play Boosie. Like I want you to play this, or I want you to play that. Like I'm going to do my own thing. Granted, yes, will I take your constructive criticism is what I've always tried to take it as, but like ultimately everybody's going to have an opinion. Everybody's going to have something to say. Is it good sometimes? Sure. Is it going to be bad sometimes? Yeah. But overall, to use that as fuel has always been the best course of action, because bro, people that are doing stuff are putting themselves out there, man. Like you're literally going out on that's why they call it going out on a limb, bro, because the limb will break. And you know why that limb breaks? Because people are throwing rocks at you up there, right? You're up there. They're not. They see you doing something. They see you being vulnerable. They see you going out to try to do something. It's so easy to cast a stone. That's hard. Man, you'll never make it. Bro, like whenever I traveled around with my little board to all the banks telling people I wanted to do laser tag on Broad Street, bruh. But if I didn't have the thick skin that I developed at that young age of like, man, your DJing sucks. Or like, I hate Judson McCord. Like I literally have people that just don't like me because of being me. Like they can't wrap their mind around.
I can relate to that in a sense.
Yeah, they can't wrap their mind around like how come you get to go on the Haitian King podcast, bro? Like why how come you get to own Game2Life? Like that should have been me. man, like instead of thinking that, just think of like, man, how did he do that? Why can I try to emulate that? Or hell, maybe have a conversation with me and learn a little bit about me.
I think that's very powerful the way you said, because sometimes people always looking at trying to like, because me, when I come somewhere and I see what you got, and we always thinking like, damn, like if you feel like, I feel like sometimes people talking and they feel like, oh man, the guy's bragging. I don't give a shit. Man, when you work hard for your shit and you get to a point, man, I don't care what you say. Talk your shit. Me, I'm like, man, I'm curious. How did you do it? We're just two guys from Haiti that come from nothing. So we were out here trying to figure it out. Maybe I can learn something. Maybe like, damn, how you do this? And you feel you open to tell me? Shit, I'm willing to learn. You know what I mean? It's all about like, it's just like, oh yeah, he acting like he the shit. No, I'm looking at, man, he doing something. There is something that he knows. Maybe like that I don't know. Maybe like this is the information he's gonna give me that's gonna put me to the next level. But sometimes some people looking at it like, oh yeah, he acting like he's this shit. But sometimes people not willing to learn, not willing to do the work. It's easy for them to just trying to bring you down to the level that make it easy for them. So we in the same level. Then trying to get to the next level. Sometimes they're so self-conscious, like, I'm not gonna do this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to me, like, that's very powerful when you say, like, I like people don't want to emulate what you do. It's easy for them to judge and do.
And also the way me personally, the way I look at it, like when people like when somebody's acting like they're shit, quote unquote. Me in my mind, I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. He's the shit. What can I learn from him so I can be the shit too?
Yeah, I want you to be the shit. Talk your shit. I mean, I always tell people, talk your shit. Like, I guess people like, to me, I can get in the sense, man, if you feel like, man, you work, how hard, like sometimes, man, you work so hard, like you said, that feeling when you just, so many times you cry, there we go. So many times you cry in the shower, or you cried in the mirror. Nobody's seen that. But like sometimes too, when you wanna be like, talk like, put that emotion, like I fucking did it. You should be able to just do it.
Be able to speak that. Man, I just did that. Would you believe that? Just like you were telling us after you finally got that rope over that tree. That, yes, I did that. I climbed this motherfucker. I put the rope up there. That, a lot of people consider it bragging or he thinking the shit. That shit, like, really blows my mind in a sense.
Well, that brings me back. So I don't know if it's probably before y'all's time of being in Lake Charles, but we had a place called Skate City.
I heard about it.
And it was like the place to be for kids for the longest time. It was awesome. Shout out Brian Guillory, the owner of Skate City, took that from his parents and made it a big thing, man. Did awesome with it. And I worked for him whenever I was younger, so I got to kind of see some of that stuff. But that's like what you were talking about, is like, how do I take notes, and how do I, instead of just clocking in 9 to 5, like, nah, man, like I was peeping around trying to figure out, like, hey, like, how much do these skates cost? Like, how much are we renting them for? Like, are we selling any of this merchandise? Like I was always into that, type of thing. And then obviously they had a DJ booth that I had control over, so I love that, But yeah, it's just getting into things like that at a young age. It taught me how to keep thick skin. But like I said, the story I'm thinking of is in Skate City. I was a young kid, and this before I was working there, I was probably, 10 or something. And they used to have those they'd have races for the skates or whatever. Well, I did one of the races, and then like whenever I like won or whatever, or I might not have even won, but I was doing something, like I was putting my arms out or something, and I heard this girl out loud, like, "You're a show off." And bro, like at 10 years old, like, it crushed me, bro. It was like this cute girl I was trying to impress or whatever the case may be. And she's like, "You're a show off," and blah, blah, blah. And like, it crushed my spirit. And like, I just kind of took that and went on about it. And then later on in life, like in high school, I had another girlfriend, and I did a similar thing, and I did an accomplishment, and it was at a wakeboard park. I threw a backflip off of a thing. Big deal for me. I thought it was awesome. I landed it. I went nuts. I was like, yeah. You know what I mean? And whenever I came out the water and I was trying to celebrate with her, get excited. And she crushed me by like being like, "You're a loud douchebag. Do you hear anybody else celebrating like that?" So I was like, damn. And I let that crush me too. But then fast forward, I meet my current wife, and I had like the coolest set. It's giving me goosebumps thinking about it. But I had my nice ski boat. I had a nice truck, and you know, like I was walking out of, I think it was like Street Bread at the time, and I had like some food and stuff, and somebody was coming down the road and they were honking their horn. It was like, hell yeah, bro, nice boat. And I kind of like went like that, but then like I immediately like shamed myself and like took my hand down and like kind of went to the truck, and like my now wife saw the whole interaction. She's like, "What's the deal, man?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "I just, it's all the boat, whatever." She's like, "Yeah, that's awesome. Like people saw your awesome ass boat and they think that's cool. Like you should be proud of that. Like you worked hard for that." And man, that hits me. But that's why I married that girl, right? Because she knew that it's not showing off. It's not boasting. It's not bragging. It's just being proud of your accomplishments, being proud of something that you did. It's not being a douchebag. It's not being obnoxious. You know, it's not those things. It's celebrating a victory. And no matter how small that might be to somebody else, like we're not living their life, bro. Like I'm living my life. I'm the main story, or I'm the main character in my story. So that's where the people from the outside looking in, they can look at you and think of any kind of way they want to think about you, but that shouldn't affect the way that you go to sleep at night. And that shouldn't affect your performance on the everyday basis. And I just think that a lot of people let that cripple them. You know, they allow that you can't do it, or that negative talk, that negative mindset. But man, the reason they're negative is because they're living that life. They're that negative connotation in their life. They're not the joy. So
Projection.
exactly. 100% projection. So if you let that tear you down, man, I think, and that's the other thing, man, in the world, bro, we need more love. We need more peace. We need more understanding. You know, it's like, why is this guy throwing a huge celebration because he just hit a cool shot in pickleball? Not, oh, I hate that guy. He always celebrates. Ugh. Because I hear that shit too, you know, but I've always been the person to say something. I've never kept my mouth shut. That's what my mom says. Your mouth gets you in trouble, because I'm always that guy. Like if there's somebody at the bar, like I'm always like, shut up, stop talking, whatever. Like I'm not trying to be a tough guy. Like I just can't help it. I have to say something. If somebody's talking shit about somebody else and they're not in the room, I stand up for them. Even if I don't like them. Even if I don't like them. Even if I have a personal turmoil with said individual, and somebody else is tearing them down, and say, hey, man, look, that's not really cool, man. I don't like to talk about people in that light.
Yeah, but a lot of people, because it's crazy for you to say, because I feel like, being in this country for 14 years now, I feel like this is a lot of things people do. And I feel like people talk shit about people all the time. So I'm cool with that. But if you got something that's, you got a problem with, I always feel like it's necessary to just say, hey, man, Judson, bro, man, you was on some bullshit. What the fuck you pulled the other day, I didn't like it. This is how they make me feel. And you'd be like, oh, shit, really? Man, I wasn't even thinking about it this way. Oh, and you'd be like, man, yeah, I fucking mean it. You know, what the fuck you gonna do about it? Now, we just know where you stand and where I stand. So we can move forward from that, like, okay, I mean, I didn't mean it like that, man, I'm sorry, but it won't happen again. Next time you did it, you'd be like, oh, shit, yeah, he didn't like that. So, you know what I mean? But I feel like a lot of time people hold their feelings, hold their thought, and then just immediately, like, they like the part, like, just talk shit about Justin. And when Justin pull up, they're like, hey, Justin, how you doing, bro? Oh, man, are you good? And just, to me, it's just like, it's something I'm struggle with a lot here. I don't like, if you're talking about Justin in front of me and I had the chance to talk with you, I'll be like, that's not the impression they give me. And it's just like, okay. Cool. So if I see, you know what I mean? I feel like I don't want to be portrayed to this. I'm not going to be, I see a lot of time people just jump in. Oh, yeah, man. Or when I see this guy, he came in, man, he's this dude. I don't like that. If you want to have something in your mind, and I feel like, I don't know if it's the American way. I don't know if it's, I think Haitian got it too. I guess people that do that, I don't get it because I'm for fun. Like you're gonna always, I'm very emotional beings in a sense. You're gonna know what I'm feeling. If I don't feel like it, boy, I'm telling you, that's why me and our relationship is legit because he pulls some shit, he knows about it. I pull some shit, I knows about it. You know what I mean? I feel like that's like this. I don't have to worry about him talking shit about me. Even though he's talking shit behind my back, I just know what he's talking about. He already tell me 1,000 times about it.
Sure.
The shit I'm talking shit about his back, I already told him 1,000 times. So therefore, it's not me talking shit about him. It's just me expressing, and he knows that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's how I always feel about it.
Man, I think the most misunderstood person that's in this area is probably Grant. Like,
I'm glad you
that-
said. I feel like
that's-
that's a conversation for another day, perhaps.
Yeah,
I'm glad
But
you
yeah,
said that.
nah, Grant deserves everything that he's got. That dude works his ass off. Ryan, his older brother, as well. But man, this city just loves and loves and loves the Billy Navarre. It was Billy. It's like, man, you can have something given to you and taken away in a millisecond.
And then that's what
if
I'm
you
saying.
don't-
That's a conversation.
Yeah.
for
Yeah, you know
another
what?
day.
Even though you say it's a conversation, I want to have 2 minutes on this because I see Grant. I don't know Grant well. I had a chance to meet him. And to me, he's a great guy, right? I love Grant. But like, it was fascinating to me when he was speaking because I was like, damn, I never see it in his perspective. It was like, man, you don't understand. Like, okay, I'm feeling like everything you build, right? If I make millions of dollars, I make millions of dollars for my kids. So I pass it on to them. 2 ways it can go. They can be a fuck up, and that shit went to trash, and they begin hard working out whatever I instill in them, and they make it happen, and it's still going.
Yeah.
But it's so hard sometimes for people. Oh yeah, your daddy did it. Oh, you was going on money, but at the end of the day, they never take the time to even think about how the shit is still going. That is gone.
Yeah.
But how they still in business. They had to have that model in them. Why you give a shit at the end of the day?
Yeah.
That's every parent's job. My job is to have my generation wealth. So
Yeah.
if he does have that, he's just like, man, happy for the man. Hey man, I'm happy for you. But some people, he's just like,
It
they
eats
can't
them up.
fucking take it.
Yeah, it eats them up. It's like they're mad at him. It's like it's his fault that he was born into where he is. I mean, that's just like, man, I've seen like with Josh Quayhagen, whenever he does all this Christmas stuff and he donates everything overseas and he does, these little like community gifts to like a whole community over there, third world countries. These kids are jumping for joy, crying and loving life over some crayons and a coloring book. You know what I'm saying? And then you've got kids over here in America that if they don't get the iPad they want, they're stomping around, they're all upset and, not having a good time. It's all about perception, man. Like you can take the hand you were dealt and play the game and cry about it the whole time, or you can take your hand and play the game and truly try to win at it. No matter what cards you're dealt, there's always. Now somebody might have a full set of cards, a royal flush sitting right there, got everything they need. But that dude across from the table, if he plays the game right, because it is a game. If he plays the game right, man, he might be able to get up on that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Now, it might not be the first hand, might be the second hand, but you are in control of your destiny.
Absolutely.
And I think that is the biggest thing is people act like they can't, or they act like poor me, or I can't because of my circumstances. Like I watch and listen to people all the time rag on those who have. And you can even point it to like celebrities and stuff like that. Like, why are they famous? Like all these TikTok stars or these Instagram people are like, oh, this is so easy, blah, blah, blah. Well, you do it.
Yeah, you got
There
a
you
phone.
go.
You got a phone.
You have every single capability that they have. You might not look like them. You might not talk like them. You might not have some of the wherewithal that they have and the smarts, but it can be learned and it can be attained. But if you're never going to try for greatness or try to do anything, and if all you're going to do is just critique those at the top, man, you ain't going to make it. And then it's going to be a miserable existence. But I don't know, somehow these people just go through life. I never understand it. But I feel that I'm put on this earth so that those people that are having a tough time or having a hard go at it can go somewhere like Game2Life and just lose themselves in the environment, in the gaming, in the vibe. You know, like, bro, I can't tell you how many times people come and tell me, like, man, it changed my whole day. The other day I came out there and we threw axes, and man, like, I was having a shitty day. I'll run into people that are like, man, I've had to put my dog down today. Like, I came out here to have a good time. And like, I actually forgot about my dog passing for a little bit today, you know, like, thank you for that. Like, the curator of joy, the bringer of happiness, like, that's all I care about. Does it take money to do that? Absolutely. Yeah. It takes a revenue stream and it costs money. Like, I call him old redneck Bob comes out. I ain't paying you to throw axes, boy. I can go in my backyard. Oh, all right, man. But hey, I'll sell you an axe. You want it? I'll buy one at Academy, boy. I ain't doing this. Overpriced. Like, sorry, sir. We ship our boards in from upstate New York's cottonwoods, the best wood you can buy on freaking this continent. You know what I'm saying? Like, designed for axe throwing. They're like, oh, well, I guess that's kind of cool. But I can still do the same thing. It's like, yes, sure, you can. But do you have a cool little Bluetooth speaker? Do you have somebody that's waiting on you hand and foot? Do you have a cool little swing set out here? Can you just step right here, play washers, cornhole, snook ball? Do you have a TV nearby, perchance? Do you have the ability to have food ordered? You know, so you run them through that exercise, and they just kind of do the whole, well, I guess you're right. But it just takes that little bit of, I guess, money to have fun. And I hate that it's like that. I wish that we could have a lot of free stuff. And I'm trying to create that. Yeah. Truly, like, out there at Game2Life, there is some stuff that I want people to show up and be able to partake in for free or something close to free. But it's just right now in business, being by myself, stuff like that, which is, I mean, I am trying to take on partners. I mean, that's something that we talked about, threw around some business ideas and stuff like that. And I mean, you guys have a greater understanding. The people who are watching this have a kind of a gray area about what we mean by, like, the business extension of where Game2Life is going. I mean, I've put some stuff out on social media, so they have an idea. But I mean, to do all these things to get there to where I can provide free things that are just amazing and do these festivals that we talk about and, like, all this stuff, like, it's going to take those people showing up to pay for axe throwing. Like, understand that you can do it in the back of your house. Yeah. You know, like, I get that. But come and play with us. Give us a little bit of money, because I promise you we're going to reinvest it not only in the community but into our product. Right? My kids are in local schools. I donate to local schools. I shop local. I do that whole thing. My money stays here. You know, I'm not some big franchise that's coming in just to collect money. So there's always that I have going for me. It's just, how do I make it to where I can have people that come in and do it for free on us? I mean, there's been times where we do, like, free pickleball. We've started free pickleball on Fridays and stuff like that. But that's only due to the people signing up to do our leagues. That's due to the memberships, the people that are paying the $15 a month for the 24-hour access to the pickleball. You know, like, all that stuff adds up. And then guess what? I don't have to have revenue on an operating day. It's not hingent on a big Saturday to go, or else, you know, we can't make the next note or whatever the case may be. But more people show up, more people come out and support early and often, then they get nicer things. They get growth. I think that a lot of times people get hung up in today it's going to cost me $60, right? That's too much money. I can't go do that, you know, or whatever the case may be. Or if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I'm going to go to Lafayette, or I'm going to go to Houston, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that. Well, that's great, but what is Houston doing for this community, right? What is your money going outside to do this entertainment? Because I get all the time, they're like, man, I wish we had a Topgolf. Hey, you know, I can create a version that's just like Topgolf, which is I could do this, and I could make that happen. But what that would require is y'all to show up in troves and show support. And then once you do that, then I reinvest in the product, and boom, there you go.
By the time you come next year, it's going to be something else I add.
By the time you come, and I literally have people that tell me, you told me you were going to do this pickleball. Man, I thought you were full of shit. it took so long. I didn't know. It's like, yeah, man, you know, it took me 2 years from the time I started spouting it out and we were in the driveway painting lines, you know, right there in the parking lot. We were playing pickleball. People would stop off the side of Broad Street. What are y'all doing? What is that? Pickleball. I'm building courts. I'm building 4 courts. Well, people don't know that how much money it takes to do all that stuff and how much time it takes. But they come back in a year and they're like, dude, everything you said, it's happening, man. I'm proud of you. And like, are those gratifying moments? Absolutely. But it's also a motivating factor because I go, okay, I changed that much in 1 year. Okay, I gotta change again. I gotta change
next year,
again.
it's gotta be more and better. I got you.
Correct. So I think that's ultimately what I think is kind of missing, man, is the want to do more and to never be done, to always try to be better. And I think that if people would, you know, adopt that mentality, I think a lot of things would be better, bro. Even down to like your fast food order. I promise you, if I'm in McDonald's or Burger King or wherever and I have all access to all that stuff, bro, the product I'm putting out is, dude, you put me behind the counter at Taco Bell, dog, I go crazy. I could make you the best Crunchwrap Supreme, whatever. Like, I could go crazy in there, but it's because I truly care about the experience that you're going to have when you have this food. That's the difference of other people's mentality of just like, I'll put this together and get it out. You know, I can't wait till I clock out.
Out of most fast food, that's what you usually get, really, honestly.
Well, you put me in Subway, cuz I would be a sandwich artiste. I would tear it up. But that's just, people like me are going to do Game2Life. They're going to go do their own thing because they don't fit in that box of sandwich artist, sushi chef, all that type of thing. But like, I just wish that people had the want and the pride to truly take pride in what they're doing and what they're putting out and the product that they're giving folks. I just think that's what's missing. And it's just been like, we're cool with mediocre, you know, just, well, they didn't get my order so wrong, you know, or, hey, it's fully cooked, good enough. You know, I can't jive with that. I can't adopt that mindset of good enough. You know, I can't. It always has to be wow or this is the best I've ever had.
But let me ask you this, though. Like, I remember, if you remember, like when we first met the day when we went to Game2Life, one thing we talked about was, man, this place could be better advertising and so on and so forth. And you kind of explained to us what your master plan was and all that kind of stuff. But let's just say, for the sake of conversation, somebody ran into you, they don't know you're the owner. And they're like, man, I just drove on Broad Street and I saw this place, you know, Game2Life. What is it all about? And then to where you have to literally instruct them what Game2Life is all about. What would you say? Where would you start and where would you end it?
Okay, so a lot of times people do run into me at Game2Life and they look at me and what I'm wearing. I usually have on athletic shorts, barely have tennis shoes on. I've got a rag and I'm cleaning something. So they don't ever think I'm the owner. It's hilarious as they get to talking to me. And I don't come out with that. I don't say, hey, I'm the owner. I just start talking to them. And as I start talking, I'm like, yeah, I'm developing this or I'm building that. They're like, whoa, wait, you own it or you're the man? Like, what's going on? But the way I describe it to people is Game2Life is and always will be basically a adult playground, okay? Me and my business developer guy, when we first started kicking around like Game2Life and how we do the franchise packet and how we move this thing around the nation, it was, how do we like category? He's like, what is it? And I was like, well, it's adult entertainment. And he's like, whoa.
That didn't sound right.
He's like, whoa. He's like, hey, I'm all for it. He's like, you're right. It is adult entertainment, but it isn't swinging around poles adult entertainment because they have that on them.
Yeah.
That's their thing. They've already coined that. So I'm like, man, like clean adult fun? And he's like, I don't know. You know, so it's like, where do we go? So we've started to coin ourselves as Lake Charles Playground. That's kind of my tagline. And really and truly, we are laser tag. We are axe throwing. We are pickleball. We are golf simulators. We are baseball simulation. And we are event center. That's basically what Game2Life is. We're taking games and we're making it to where you have to play in real life. basically augmented reality with true tools. Real bats, real golf clubs, real guns. I mean, our laser tag guns are stamped metal AR platform guns. They're heavy, all metal. It's basically a laptop shoved into a firearm. I mean, with no firing pins or anything else like that, but working safeties, felt recoil in the shoulder, all that. It has stats. You can run. Like I said, you're playing against people all over the world with the people that you're playing inside of that session as you're competing for points, accuracy, all this stuff. We track everything, how many shots you fired, all that fun stuff, what your accuracy was, who you killed most, who killed you the most, all that. Pickleball, we do the same. We use Duper, which is a dynamic, unique pickleball rating. And what that does is it takes games and we log them into a system. And like we've got rankings of like a leaderboard of Game2Life Pickleball Club. The golf simulation very much
Is
will
Grant
be the
leading
same.
it? Hey, Grant, I'm just giving you shit, man.
We need to get Grant playing pickleball. That would be the best. Yeah, if I can get him out of laser tag for sure. But no, like the axe throwing as well. I mean, we're looking at bringing that forward. We have some little add-ons that we're going to start doing with the axe throwing as well. But the baseball too, augmented reality, we're getting ready to drop in. It's just, and even our archery. I mean, I started archery out of, hey man, like people were kind of waiting around, just hanging out, vibing on the patio. Like what else cool could they do? Introduced archery, with soft tips and pop out targets. It's been a huge hit. I mean, where else can you go and watch a big ass projector screen TV, drink beer, have cocktails, have food, and have a longbow with soft tips? I mean, it's a lot of fun. But the biggest thing that I try to tell people and try to like explain in the simplest way possible is like Game2Life is the spot that you're going to go and kind of forget about everything else. And we've got plenty of games for you. Just come in, hang out, and have a vibe.
There you go.
So, what is your favorite restaurant in town?
My favorite restaurant in town.
Man, you got to think about it hard.
Yeah, because I feel like I have a lot of friends that own restaurants, and I don't want to single anybody out.
All right, top three.
All right, top three. I'm going to have to shout out 121, Mazin's, and let's see. Third one, I'm going to go Planet Nutrition. I love their, so I could live on Trent's smoothies. Shout out Trent Robertson. What's up, buddy? That's another person who you need to have.
For sure. Like I said, this is a platform for everybody, man.
Yeah.
To if you got anything going on in the shows, you want to sit here and basically do what we just did.
Yeah,
we're
it's
all
just
for it.
we were out here having a conversation with people in the community, that just have stuff going on that we can learn from. So technically, I go over there the other day. Shit, I learned a lot from you. Just speaking with you, see how your mindset, how you just think about how you have everything like ready to go. Just like to me, that was like stuck with me. I was just like, I like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if you have to eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, one food for the rest of my life. It might be like a pasta or something, because I could change it up. I could have a bunch of pastas. You know what I'm saying? Because you only have one thing. I like variety, and when you tell me one thing, I don't like that.
I got you.
So I would try something like a potato or a pasta. You know what I mean?
I got you. Anything else you got for
No,
me?
man, that was really like nice show, talking to you, pick up your brain and see how how you go about things, your entrepreneur mind, business mindset. I hope like people take this and then they don't know about Game2Life. What Game2Life was. I mean, I went over there. It's a workout. It's fun. And if you're very competitive, you don't get pissed off. Don't get me wrong. You'll feel some type of way. But at the end of the day, that's the whole goal. Have fun, compete, and just to me, and I really appreciate you coming to the show, man. I really liked it.
Absolutely, man. Thank y'all for having me.
Man, look, it was a pleasure, man. It really was a pleasure. And just to kind of, I guess, again, piggyback on what he just said, having you here talking about Game2Life to where you don't, it's not a place you drive in front of and you're like, oh, that's cool. You get to hear the background story. You get to hear like the owner, who he is, what kind of person he is, what are his beliefs, what is his favorite food, even. You get what I'm saying? So in a sense, you get to not just walk into a business and have fun. In a sense, if people take the time to watch this podcast, and then you also talked about community, and whenever they go there, they're gonna get to. It's kind of like they know you in a sense. They get to know the background, like how it started, how it got there, the trial and tribulation you had to come through to make this available for them. Once again, thank you for stopping by, man. It was like an amazing conversation. We had fun, and like I said, if people enjoyed it, feel free to add stuff in the comment, like, share, and subscribe, and then wait till another one.
Dang, man. Thank you, bro. That was a good
You enjoyed it, man?
Cool, man.
What do you
Thanks.
think?
What do you think? What do you think?
I love it. I'm gonna go piss and then we're gonna chat.
Again? Man, you got I thought I had a small bladder, man. I think we met somebody who got a small one.
I don't drink.